There is a particular kind of pain, elation, loneliness, and terror involved in this kind of madness. When you're high, it's tremendous. The ideas and feelings are fast and frequent like shooting stars, and you follow them until you find better and brighter ones. Shyness goes, the right words and gestures are suddenly there. The power to captivate others, a felt certainty. There are interests found in uninteresting people. Sensuality is pervasive, and the desire to seduce and be seduced irresistible. Feelings of ease, intensity, power, well-being, financial omnipotence, and euphoria pervade one's marrow. But somewhere this changes. The fast ideas are far too fast, and there are far too many. Overwhelming confusion replaces clarity. Memory goes, humor and absorption on friends' faces are replaced by fear and concern. Everything previously moving with the grain is now against. You are irritable, angry, frightened, uncontrollable, and enmeshed totally in the blackest caves of the mind. You never knew those caves were there. Psychologist and writer K. Redfield Jameson does an excellent job of illustrating the essence of bipolar disorder, a form of mental illness that involves extreme fluctuation between emotional highs and lows that can impact one's sleep, energy, thoughts, and most importantly, their decision-making. When these fluctuations go unchecked, hospitalization can occur. It's under these unfortunate circumstances that I met James. Although intimidating in the moment, my experience with James was one that helped me grow as a student nurse and will allow me to approach similar patients with the necessary therapeutic skills in the future. It started at the beginning of our shift on the psychiatric treatment unit when my clinical group and I began initiating conversations with patients on the floor. I introduced myself to a man in his mid-20s and asked if he felt like talking for a bit, and boy did he ever. I was immediately bombarded with facts about zodiac signs, the latest updates about everyone on the unit, and his favorite stories of him and his friends back in college, while he also asked me to reveal several of my own, seemingly all in the same breath. He boasted of his lyrical writing skills, his affection for the rapper Eminem, and how everyone he knew dubbed him the new Eminem. He even rapped a whole verse from a song he had recently written. "What do you think? That was really good, wasn't it?" he asked me. Before I had time to think of an answer, he had already begun discussing his various past romantic relationships. I didn't have to look at his chart to know that I was dealing with a textbook case of a bipolar individual's mania. However, what I didn't know was how I would effectively ask the safety questions that I was responsible for asking as a student nurse. It seemed like every time I tried to interject, I was bombarded with more of his speech. The use of silence between speaking that we had learned to employ at the beginning of the semester surely was not working. For the first time on the psychiatric floor, I felt a complete loss of control. I spent the next hour conversing with my clinical instructor about ways I could have handled the situation differently. She validated just how difficult it can be talking to somebody with mania. She explained to me that it's rightfully against our nature as nurses to be rude to a patient, but in situations where you have to assess the safety of a manic patient, with many other patients to also care for, time will be of the essence, and a polite but forceful interruption will ensure that you get the information you need to keep your patient safe. She also explained the balancing act of responding to those with delusions of grandeur. Being careful not to support false beliefs while also not challenging the patient about the truth can be tough to do, she said, but is a balance you have to try to strike. After sitting in on his conversation with James, I asked the doctor for some tips for talking with a manic patient with that much energy. He told me that even if it's difficult to get your own words in, actively listening is extremely important as it allows you to assess the nature of the patient's speech and their mental status. The Foundation's Recovery Network also helped me gain insight for treating future patients like James. In their article on interventions for manic episodes, they suggest that one-on-one, non-threatening conversations, either on the go or in a quiet, non-stimulating room, can help the nurse best communicate therapeutically with manic patients. Furthermore, they suggest bringing up any serious issues or topics in short little bursts that focus on acceptance and understanding and are light on blame or judgment, which can be especially helpful for dealing with grandiose patients like James. I'd be sure to employ these techniques along with the firm, gentle interruptions, vague responses to grandeur, and active assessment while listening, if I were to magically meet James for the first time again. I'm grateful for the clinical shift during which I met James. Not only did I learn how to more effectively communicate with manic patients like him, I discovered just how beneficial asking for help from those on the floor with experience on the issue can be. I truly believe I left as a better student nurse that day than I had arrived.